Welcome to this edition of Morgan You Asked For podcast. Wednesday night, August 26th, about 9:40. A little bit later, I was at a golf meet today up at Blank Park golf course there in Des Moines. Got home right about 9, so we kind of went 9:30, and then just by the time we get everything going, about 9:40 here. So a little bit later than normal, but not too much. We're getting that time. There's college football tomorrow night, and actually I think I'm going to go to a game here in Oskaloosa. William Penn plays Graceland, I believe. I know Drake plays somebody tomorrow night as well. So college football officially kicks off tomorrow, and then there's a few games Saturday, and then this will be the last week, Trev, that we don't have college football to recap until, well, most of January, because I'm sure the championship game, I can't tell exactly what date, but it's probably somewhere around January 20th or whatever, much like last year. We do want to thank everybody that does listen. We just ask, I mean, everything's free here. We're going to try to do a few more things here, but, YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. And, if you listen on Spotify or Apple or whatever you might listen to, just, tell a friend and rate and like and subscribe. It does help, and it gets us out just a few more people. A lot of people are pushing that right now, but it does make a difference and help us out. Just every little bit helps, and all that stuff is free. Just Trevor and I like doing this, and the more people that listen, the better.
The more the better. Yeah, we got college football starting up on Saturday. We got a full slate of games. Now, they're not the most interesting games, but
nope,
it's football on the TV. School starting back up for the high school kids, junior high. So you got, like you mentioned, high school football going on. William Penn's playing. So, yeah, tonight we're going to do our college football bracket.
Yep.
And we'll talk about some other things too. But I know I sent you a picture of mine. Hopefully it works good for the social media. We'll see how that checks out.
No promises.
Yeah, that's kind of the plan for tonight. And then in about 2 weeks, more than likely, we'll do our NFL predictions. But right now it's all college football mostly.
Yeah. And this is the latest it can really be, because college football mainly starts Labor Day weekend, and that all the way with August 31st being a Monday, you got to go all the way to September 7th. So this is the way the calendar falls. It's as late as you can have it. Because you think about, like last year, Iowa State played August 24th. And I know in 2002, I actually saw a highlight the other day of when I was at Iowa State, we played Florida State in Arrowhead August 24th. So it's just that week, entire week ahead. But it is time. It's college football time, prediction time. Everybody's putting out their list, who they think is going to win the conference, their best bets, their kind of maybe one bet that a little higher odds. I know I listened to one today that kind of is one outlier, make the playoffs, things like that. And everybody has their own predictions. And then, the one thing, and we're not sponsored or anything, but Circa, which is, kind of one here. And I know, have you stayed at any of the Circa properties in Vegas when you go there, Trev, downtown?
Maybe. I'm not, typically not. I typically stay at Hilton's or Marriott's.
Yeah. So, they have the big stadium swim and the world's largest sports book, whatever. But if you put in $250, no matter if you're a new user or a returning user, when you bet through that $250, whether it's one $250 bet or, 25 $10 bets or whatever it might be, it'll give you $250 more dollars. So kind of like back when we all started this, when it wasn't completely legit, you put in $500 and they give you $500 or whatever it was, and you do that 25 times with 25 different IP, VPN, different names, and use your mom's name and all the things we used to do back in the day to get free money.
It's a way to keep you coming back. It gets you in with that, and then when you get that free $250 back, you're like, well, I may as well spend it, and then you're a lifetime member, as they call it.
Yeah, and that's, most of our friends, we bet, and I'm not a huge bettor, but $10 a game, and probably throw 10 or 15 bucks on Texas Tech to win the Big 12, Miami to win the ACC, just things that are probably going to happen a couple teams to win the national championship. And I know you like those future bets and things like that. And right now, maybe you could pair that with, the Dodgers winning the World Series, or, the Liberty, or, the Aces, or the Lynx winning the WNBA. You can play with it however you would like. But I just thought I'd say that because I think that's about as good a deal as you can get if you're already, going to bet. That's just one of the sites. I know there's DraftKings and FanDuel and all the others, but I kind of like that one. The other one, other thing, when you bet golf, it's just the odds are just a tad better there. I've noticed. But your choice. I just thought that's kind of a free plug for Circa.
That's good. I'll remember that for golf because I haven't bet golf in a while, but when I do bet the majors, I always like to find the best odds I can. So I'm going to have to remember that come Masters time.
Yeah. All right. Anything you want to talk about before we talk about college football? I think we just go right into it. I know, Steve Shetler does about 15 minutes or so. So let's get as much as we can with Steve's audience. And, those of you that are with Steve and want to listen to more, usually we go about an hour. So find us at, Morgan He Asked For on all the socials or podcasts or YouTube to listen to the rest of the podcast, as the old Paul Harvey, the rest of the story back in the day. You sent me a picture of yours. I sent a picture of mine. We're really not that far off. It's kind of crazy. I mean, here and there, but when it gets down to the final teams or whatever, we're not that far off. A couple teams, you have I have an upset early just because of the way it is, but it works out in the end. You've got a team going quite a ways that I got losing early, but it's who they played. So let's just start. Let's start with 12. And Trev, we're just going to do you first, and then I'll go second. We'll just do all of yours, and then we'll do all mine.
So starting with the 12 seed. Yeah, this was one when I was doing this bracket, I was going back and forth between like 3 and 4 different teams. And then ultimately, I'm like, what am I stressing about? It's the 12 seed. It's going to be one of the G5 teams that's getting in. It doesn't matter. They're most likely going to lose. Or even if they do pull the upset, they're not going to go on a run unless something crazy happens. So I just went with the boring old Boise State pick at the number 12 seed just because people think Navy could be in there, Memphis, UNLV, New Mexico. There's some other teams. I just went with the old trusty Boise State.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see mine here in a little bit, but I was wrestling with, I'll just be honest, UNLV was one that I was thinking. I did not pick them, but they were one that I was wrestling with there in that 12 spot. Dan Mullen, you got a coach that's been there, done that at other places. Barry Odom turned that program back around. I know he's at Purdue now. I think he went to Purdue. But yeah, they're better than they've been. And the Mountain West Conference, which they're in, is not the same as it was. Several of those teams, I think Boise State technically is now in the Pac-12, along with Colorado State and all those state schools there. So conferences are a little bit different, but Boise State, as you said, is a safe bet there out west.
Safe bet. Now, did you want me to go who they're playing? Do you want me to go down to 11, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, you can go. Yeah, why don't you just do who they're playing? So it'd be number 5.
Okay. I've got them playing at Indiana. I think Indiana has a really good season again. They just missed out on the first round bye, maybe have a little bit of a slip up during the season. But since they're the defending national champs, that number 5 seed is the coveted spot in this playoff right now, since we've had it at the 12 teams. So the committee is going to do Indiana a favor and give them Boise State in the first round. So I've got Indiana versus Boise State, 5 versus 12.
Okay. And then, okay, so 5 and 12. Okay, so now let's go to number 11. Okay, so now you're going down the bracket a little bit here.
Number 11, my surprise team to make the playoff, and this is a big curveball in this whole thing. I got Virginia Tech making the playoff. And this is James Franklin. They return. They're one of the top teams in returning production. I think James Franklin's going to do really good there. I think it's a perfect fit for him. It's not far from where he was at Penn State. And I think this is going to be kind of a snowball effect where you'll see in my bracket, one of the 2 main conferences only gets 3 teams in. and that's going to lead them to just agree on the 2014 playoff, which we've talked about before. We'll get into that later as we preview the bracket. But I do have number 11, Virginia Tech, sneaking in and playing at the University of Texas. Texas, the number 6 seed. They've got a brutal schedule. I do think they will beat Ohio State in week 2, but I definitely think there's going to be a loss or two there for Texas throughout the season. So I've got Texas hosting Virginia Tech.
Okay. So that's your 6-11. Okay. And so now you're 10 seed. So you're the third from the bottom here.
10 seed. This one was tough. And this is where it's this another part of that snowball, curveball controversy. I've got Penn State getting in, even though we talked last week, I didn't. I'm going to have Penn State at the number 10 seed over some 9-3 SEC teams that are going to get left out. Again, this is part of that controversy. It's going to lead to an expanded playoff. So I'm going to have Penn State going on the road in Lubbock at Texas Tech,
okay,
the number 7 seed. And I think that'll be an awesome game, awesome environment. And I like the part of this too. I like the color matchups, blue versus red. I hate having like red versus red or blue versus blue. So that's just how my mind thinks. So it's a good uniform matchup too.
Yep. Okay. So now would be your 9. So we got the 8-9 game here.
This is the best one. This is gonna get the highest ratings. Everyone's gonna be excited for this. Number 9, LSU. Texas Tech and LSU are going to be hated teams all year for obvious reasons that we can talk about afterwards, different things that are going on in college football. But number 9, LSU on the road in cold weather, Columbus versus Ohio State.
So you've got Ohio State losing probably to be the 8 seed, probably 2 games then.
Yeah, I debated not even having Ohio State in the playoff.
Okay. You're going to see one of my teams that I don't have in the playoff. I'll be honest, I have Ohio State in it, but one of my teams that you have very high, I don't have in the playoff at all as well.
Ohio State's got a brutal schedule, so I have them as the 8th seed. They'll pick up some big wins. I think they're going to lose at Texas week 2, so there's 1 loss to get the season started, and then there's definitely going to be another 1, maybe 2 along the way. But I am going to have Ohio State hosting number 9 LSU, and you can flip both those. I mean, it's going to be – those are 2 of the best stadiums in the entire country that we've talked about. It's going to be the Southern team going up north this time. So number 9 LSU at 8 Ohio State.
All right, very good. So so there's your bottom bracket. Well, that's everybody but your top 4 seeds. So essentially, like Texas Tech, I'm assuming, I kind of know, but I'm assuming you have Texas Tech winning the Big 12 because you don't, I'm gonna spill the beans. You don't have another Big 12 team as a top 4 seed.
Correct.
And then now you're going to have the other teams in as the conference champions. Most doesn't have to happen that way, but most likely it is.
Yep. So do you want me to move into the next round and then further down? Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So you can go. You can go top to bottom here. You can go. Yeah. Your 1, 8, 9.
Yep. We'll just go now 1 through 4, obviously.
Okay.
Number 1, Notre Dame will play number 8, Ohio State. Again, these are all going to be neutral site games, which is disappointing. I'm in full agreement with Josh Pate. These should be on campus. I think everybody agrees on that. But anyway, number 1, Notre Dame versus number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Oregon versus number 7, Texas Tech. Number 3, Georgia versus number 6, Texas. SEC battle again. And then a rematch of last year's national title. Number 4, Miami, ACC winner, plays number 5, Indiana.
Yeah, and so those are really good matchups. Indiana, Miami would be a huge number again. If they both had the season you expect them to, just with a rematch. Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame, Ohio State. Does it get better than that?
Not much. Oregon, Texas Tech, and a lot of these are
that's a rematch from last year as well.
Yeah, it was tough to get it perfect. You try to mess with this bracket like that I found. You want to make it perfect, but then you want to try to make it realistic too. So obviously Georgia versus Texas is another SEC matchup. But as we know, just like in the NFL, you're gonna have games that have already happened. It's just part of the deal. So we'll talk about my winners. We'll start with the first one. I've got Notre Dame beating Ohio State to move on. I've got number 2 Oregon beating Texas Tech to move on. I've got Texas beating Georgia. And then in the Miami-Indiana matchup, I've got Miami coming out on top this time to move on. So that moves us into the semifinals, which would be Notre Dame versus Miami. Now they're going to play in the season, obviously.
They play opening weekend, week 1, I believe.
No, it's later in the season.
Is it later this time? Last year it was week 1.
But this is to go to the national title game. So Notre Dame versus Miami to go the Natty. Oregon versus Texas to go the Natty. And the common theme with all 4 of these teams, though, is all 4 of these coaches have never won a national title as a head coach. So somebody is going to win their first national championship. And when you look at any of the comments, fan bases with all these 4 different teams, everybody says the coaches can't get it done. Well, neither could Ryan Day until he did. Kirby Smart couldn't get it done early either against Alabama and Nick Saban. Kurt Zanetti, year 2, people doubted him. So I think we're going to have another first-time winner this year. And those are going to be my semifinal teams. So in the semifinals, in the Notre Dame versus Miami matchup, I'm going to have Notre Dame winning that one. Notre Dame should have the best defense in the entire country, potentially. And then in the Oregon versus Texas matchup, I've got Oregon coming out on top. So that leaves us with an Oregon Notre Dame national championship.
Yep. Speaking of Notre Dame defense, and I 100% agree they're going to have one of the best. Their defensive coordinator is Chris Ash, who is from Ottumwa, has helped me start my career and helped me get to Ottumwa and everything. And he's been at Notre Dame. He's been at Wisconsin. He's been at Iowa State. He's been at Arkansas. He's been in the NFL a little bit. Been at Texas. So he's been around, been the head coach at Rutgers. So he's been around. He knows what he's doing. Been at Ohio State. So he's one heck of a defensive coach, and he was 25 years ago when I was at Iowa State as well.
Might need to line us up with some tickets potentially.
I think if we wanted to go to Notre Dame versus Alcorn State or Western Michigan or something, maybe semifinal national championship, probably not so much.
Not going to happen. No, I know that. And then for the national title game, Oregon versus Notre Dame, I'm going to have Oregon coming out on top. Tons of returning starters, and I'm going to go
first championship.
Yep, and I'm going to go with the Big Ten going for 4 in a row. So that's how it's looking. What do you like? What don't you like? Questions, comments?
Yeah, so 4th in a row and 4 different teams. That's the kicker with the Big Ten compared to Alabama 7 out of 14 years or whatever. Georgia back to back, LSU 2 or 3 there, kind of close. So you're going to see my bracket here real soon, and you're going to see some familiar picks, and not the seeding, not the same, but when you start playing the games, the way it works out, some of the same matchups, some of the same teams in the same spots.
The only question I have for you is, it's going to be controversial, but do you think that the committee would put a Virginia Tech team in over an SEC 9-3 team in my scenario?
What record is Virginia Tech going to have? Are they going to be 11-1 with their 1 loss to Miami? I don't know their schedule. 11-1 with or would be
11-1 or 10-2. But let's say let's say 4th place SEC team down are all 9-3 or worse.
If they have 1 loss, yes, they'll get them in. If they have 2 losses, it's going to be a toss-up.
Right.
It depends who they lost to. Let's say they did lose to Miami, and then they lost to Virginia last week of this regular season. Or let's just say 1 loss to Virginia last regular season, and then they lost to Miami in the championship game. So they've lost 2 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Probably not. Yeah, Virginia Tech's a wild card. I had to throw in 1 wild card because this playoff, every year that we've had it, there's been a little bit of a surprise. And just like the NFL, there's new teams every year. So I was trying to think of someone it kills me to leave Ole Miss out. Now, when it comes to betting odds, and future bets, I'm going to probably bet on Ole Miss to make the playoff and maybe with the Natty. But in this scenario, I wanted to throw a little bit of a curveball in there. So Virginia Tech was that for me.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. I've got my curveball is not a huge curveball, and you're going to see my one reason why that I do have them here. And I'm a little bit contradictory of myself here, just with I know some of these teams play each other, but I think they kind of round robin here. But we'll see. Okay, so we're going to start with mine. My 12 seed is Boise State as well. And then they're the 5 seed who I have them playing Notre Dame. Okay, because I have Notre Dame losing to another team that's getting the playoff here in a little bit. That is, I have them beating Miami, but I have them losing another game, and you're going to see that here in a little bit. But I do have Miami still ranked really high because I think it's going to be a barn burner, and it's just going to be one loss to a very, very good Notre Dame team. All right, so that's my 5-12 Notre Dame and Boise. My 11, here's one of my sleeper teams, Big Ten team. He needs this. USC gets in. They have some chances here. They play some teams here. I have USC getting in, playing number 6 Texas. So I have Texas losing that game against Ohio State. So that's why they're going to drop. I mean, that it's not going to drop out of the playoff or anything, but just not to get those top 4 seeds. And then I have them losing. You're going to see who I have them losing to here and very, very shortly. So 6 Texas, 11 USC. My 10 is LSU. I do think Kiffin does get in this year. And then I have them playing number 7, Oregon. So I'm kind of – there are a lot of Big Ten teams in my bracket. So Oregon 7, LSU 10. So LSU going to Oregon. So not Columbus, but not warm and a long trip.
Long trip. Yeah, that would be a great one for sure.
And, Dan Lanning, it's kind of funny, Dan Lanning, being a Georgia guy and, coming from that Saban, Kirby, Smart tree, and then Kiffin being the same. So, I mean, they probably crossed paths somewhere down there back in the day. And then here's my 8-9. And here's my 2 teams that I'm just going to go 8. I'm just going to say 8 seed. I'm going to say BYU. They get in. They do not win the Big 12. You're going to see my Big 12 champ here coming up. But they beat Notre Dame in Provo. That gets them in at 10-2, but with a big win against Notre Dame. And then my 9 is Penn State. I just think their schedule is just too easy to not get in at 10-2. I think that's where your Virginia Tech 10-2, Penn State gets them because they're a Big Ten team at 10-2. And they're going to have a win against a USC at Washington, something else that Virginia Tech may not have.
Totally agree. Virginia Tech's it's a wild card throw out there. Really, though, since we're both betting on Penn State to get in, that means they're not going to make it.
Oh, so. Yeah, they're good. Yep, Rocco's going to get hurt in the 3rd game.
And we should have like Ole Miss or Oklahoma or someone in their spot instead.
Yep. No, but I do think so. But that would be classic. That's blue on blue, but that'd be in Provo if it goes 8-9. So that would be a big advantage for the Big 12 to get a second team in. And BYU hosting a game would be a great setting for much of the country that maybe has not ever seen a game on TV there because they're usually not on big. It would potentially be the second one because obviously when Notre Dame goes there, everybody's going to be watching that one as well.
It'd be a beautiful setting for a game. Yeah, but the blue on blue, that and the jerseys are so that really
they're close too. I mean,
I don't like it. But you gotta put somebody else in there. You gotta need a team with some red. Give me a red team in there.
All right. So just a quick rundown: 5-12 Boise State against number 5 Notre Dame, 6 Texas, 11 USC, 7 Oregon, 10 LSU, and then the 8-9 matchup BYU and Penn State. Winning that game The 8-9 game is BYU. I have BYU winning that game in Provo. I just think that's a little bit too much to ask Penn State and Matt Campbell and the Cyclone Nittany Lions to win that first playoff game. So I got BYU going against number 1 Ohio State. They have a brutal schedule, but I think they have the best players that money can buy. The most money, Ryan Day. This is it. I really think they put almost everything together, and they're the number 1 seed. They will play BYU in the quarters. 5-12, Notre Dame, Boise State. Notre Dame's just too good. It's unfortunately that game might not get out of hand. Notre Dame will play number 4, Texas Tech. Big 12 champs. They get that same 4 seed. They're going to have another chance, but they've got another team that coming to Lubbock. Well, this will be a quarterfinals will be neutral site, but they're going to have another chance, but they've drawn a short straw again, I believe. Texas, USC. I've got Texas going against Georgia. The same matchup you do. Different seeds, but same matchup that you have. And then I've got Oregon beating LSU going against number 2 Miami. I think Miami is really, really good. They're going to lose a game, but they're really, really good. Going to be the ACC champs. So I've got Ohio State, BYU, Texas Tech, Notre Dame, Georgia, Texas, Miami, and Oregon. Okay, number 1 Ohio State puts it to BYU. Ohio State gets to the semis. Notre Dame, Texas Tech. Notre Dame is really, really good. So Notre Dame, I think, puts it to Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech runs out of gas, and Notre Dame wins that one relatively easy. Georgia, Texas. Texas comes back and beats them after losing in the SEC championship game. So I've got 1, 3, and 4, and you're going to see. And number 2, Miami plays Oregon going down because I've got Oregon winning that game. So I have the top 4 seeds losing, which happened 2 years ago where all those teams lost that didn't play.
Right. Yep.
So I have the same thing happening again. And I think some of it is just the way it works out with the seeding and how my seeding is. So my semis, Ohio State versus Notre Dame, which you have that same matchup, correct?
I have Miami versus Notre Dame.
Oh, that's right. You have Miami, Notre Dame, and then Texas and Oregon.
We have 3. We have 3 out of the 4 are the same.
Yes. So I have number 5 Notre Dame beating Ohio State to get to the championship game, and then I have Oregon beating Texas to get to the championship game. I don't believe in Sark. I'll be honest. I think his players are really, really good, but I don't believe in Sark. Oregon versus Notre Dame. Obviously, now a little bit of me really wanted to pick Oregon to win it because first championship for Oregon. They've been there, haven't quite got it done, but I do think Notre Dame will win the national championship this year, and it would not shock me one bit when their coach, about a week after they win the championship, goes to the NFL because he's done with this.
And drafts his quarterback car.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
No, so we have the same national title. That's kind of boring. That kind of sucks.
That I know it does. I saw that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah. Because it's not like per se the best teams. It's not. I mean, they're really good. Notre Dame, I mean, they're supposed to be really good, but it's not, Ohio State and Miami or Texas, whoever. And so the surprise team that I don't have in the playoff is Indiana.
Right.
So I don't have Indiana in the playoff. That's my little bit of surprise. I think they still have a great year, but I think it's one of those, they could be 10-2, 9-3, and they just get left out. They're just one of those numbered games where they get left out. They're going to have a great year, but not 16-0 or 15-0, whatever they were last year.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's going to expect them to go undefeated again. But if they do miss the playoffs, it'll be a little bit of a surprise, and that'd be maybe a little bit of a reality check to Cignetti.
Yep.
Some people might like that.
Right. Yep.
So I don't mind that as well. But the thing I like about this college football playoff, and we've seen it every year now, it's sort of like the NFL to an extent. I mean, it used to be in the mid-2000s, the last 10 or 15 years before this expanded playoff, it was always about 3 teams could win every year. That was it.
Yep.
Alabama, Georgia, and then you had an occasional Ohio State, LSU, Clemson.
Well, it was so hard to get in. You had to essentially go undefeated or lose the correct game.
The correct
game. You lost the wrong game, you were out. You had to lose you had to lose really late, like super late, like in the championship game or you had to lose really early against a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you lost, October 18th against a team ranked 15th, you were in trouble, real trouble, unless you were already ranked number 1 or 2, and then you could get back up. But if you were Iowa State, was it 2 years ago when they started 7-0 or 8-0, whatever it was, not really ranked, you're getting up to number 8, number 9, and then you lose a game to not a top 2 or 3 team, and then you drop back down to 20, and then you win again. It's really hard to get back up into that top 4.
Yeah, I like this playoff. It's there was a lot of teams I left out that when I was doing this bracket, I wish it was 16 or 24 teams, because I want to put Ole Miss in, and I want to put Oklahoma and maybe USC, but with 12, I mean, it makes it tough, and it makes college football a little bit more fascinating, because there's 6, 8, maybe 10 teams that can win the national title this year, and in years past it was just 2 or 3 teams for a lot of years.
And that is the benefit of the NIL, because Alabama would have a All-American, going to be a first-round NFL draft pick, sitting on the bench, waiting his turn. Now they're not waiting because they can't pay them enough. Or if they did pay him, they didn't play. Now they're going to go somewhere else, because it's just so. Yeah, you're going to play now here for Alabama, and you're going to get $1 million, but Ole Miss is going to offer you $3 million to come play. Well, it's a no-brainer. You're going to go to Ole Miss and get paid $3 million. That's what's happening now that didn't happen 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's leveled the playing field. And speaking of the playing field, we didn't really have a list of things we were going to go down tonight other than this. But obviously the big news with NFL players maybe coming back to college, not coming back, it feels like it's another one of those where it's rare in today's society, but maybe things are changing. Everybody's on the same page on this. Everybody's against it.
Has the ACC released, because I saw the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big 10 have all released a statement saying it's against conference rules. Has the ACC done? I just haven't seen it, if they have.
If they have, I haven't seen it, but I'm sure they're going to follow suit.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of those. I was listening to something today, and they were making fun of, in the SEC meeting, Greg Sankey says, this vote has to be unanimous. And then just everybody turns and looks at the person in purple, like, you have to vote there. And then they're like, well, the LSU brass says, all right, who's going to tell Lane? and their basketball coach is doing the same thing. Who's going to tell those guys that we can't do this anymore?
Yeah, I don't blame the players, because
and you can't blame the coaches either, because that's the rule right now. And their job is to put the best team forward. And that's probably getting the best team. But again, it's one of those, everybody knows this is wrong. And it's got kind of like the Texas Tech and Brendan Sort, that crossed the line. It was very, very obvious. And everybody knows it crossed the line. So we're not doing it. Very few times, as you said, that everybody's in agreement. This is another one of those in agreement. We cannot have guys going to the NFL, not making it, and then coming back and getting paid $3 million a year. And you have to do that, the 5 for 5, there has to be a cutoff. Okay, so now these 2022 guys get in. Well, now the 2021 guys want in. 20, the 20 people, they got more than gripes than anybody. Some people didn't get to play or got to only play 7 games in the regular season. Those guys got more arguments than anybody. And there's just, you have to draw a line. And I don't know, Ken, I'm not a lawyer, not a judge, but why, who, the injunctions and everything they're doing, they have to know that it's not good, but there must be some rule that just they're saying that they just can't, the NCAA or the conference can't make that rule, but they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, it's a mess. We've talked about guardrails in college sports, college football specifically, but all the conferences are a little bit different. How many conference games do you play? What are the rules? Can kids come back? The 5-for-5, the COVID just screwed everything up for everybody, not just in sports. It just screwed all of society up. It feels like COVID year did. Yeah. It feels like everything that's happened since then doesn't really, I don't know about you, but it was such a weird year there with COVID. It just messed everything up. It's going to be a legal battle for a while, but ultimately one of these classes is probably going to get screwed out of just like we have to draw a line somewhere, and it might be happening right now. As you said, with the Brendan Sorsby thing, everybody kind of agreed on it. Can't happen. Seems like everybody's agreeing on this. It can't happen. Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, is not good. Everybody kind of agrees. Dolly Parton passed away last night. Very sad. Everybody kind of agrees. Like there does seem to be some, as much as we disagree on things, there does seem to be some common ground where we all kind of agree on certain topics.
Right. And it's just common sense sometimes prevails. Not enough, but sometimes.
Sometimes. Now, we'll all agree on this, and then, once the season starts, everybody will forget about that, though. Right. And then it'll be all the big games that are coming up. Looking at the schedule, I know Josh Pate's been on this and Coward has, and I agree with him. One thing that we didn't talk about before we got started is college football has got to start taking advantage of the first 2 weeks more than they do, especially the first week. Week 1, that August 22nd through September, whatever date it is, when there's no NFL on, they need to get some more matchups going because it's, there's no NFL, so take advantage of it.
Yeah. Almost needed to this year, especially with just the way the calendar fell. They needed to be playing the Ireland game last Saturday, like 4 days ago. And then everybody plays this weekend, the 29th or whatever it is. And then everybody plays their second game and some people play their third or whatever that November or that September 5th. And then the NFL starts. So everybody's got 2 games in. And I know it kind of stinks, but last year Iowa State had 3 bye weeks with the Ireland game. Well, on October 12th, if you have a bye, I understand it's a rhythm thing for players and stuff, but the fan of college football and the fan of NFL doesn't care that Iowa State has a bye on October 12th, and they also have a bye on November 2nd, and they also had a bye on, September 5th. They don't care. There was football on all those games, all those days. So, okay, let them have 2 byes. Let the season be longer. Same amount of games, but let the season be longer. It's okay. These guys are getting paid now. So it's not like, well, we need to condense the season because they got other things to do. Well, they do have other things to do, kind of. Making classes. These guys aren't really going to college. It's just, Carson Beck hadn't taken a class in 2 years, and he admitted it. Rocco Beck has taken 1 online class that they haven't made for him yet. I mean, it's a joke, and it's fine. There's no rules or anything on school anymore, so let's just lean into it. It's minor league football. It's what it is. It's what it has been for 30 years. It's not different. Now they're just getting paid for it.
It's just out in the open now with the payments.
Yeah, it's not McDonald's bags and poker chips.
Yeah, that college football should probably start a week earlier. That means getting practice time started a week earlier or so in the off season. And again, you want to end. I think you want to end at a better time in January too than what they're at now, preferably. So yeah, take advantage of these first 2 to 3 weeks of the college football season, specifically when the NFL is not on. That's where they need a commissioner, a schedule a group of people that work on the schedule, at least have the first 4 or 5 weeks mapped out where, ideally now it's impossible because some teams are going to be better than others and some teams are not going to meet expectations, but there should always be basically every week a really good matchup in that 11 o'clock window, that 2 to 3 o'clock window, and then the night window as well. And some weeks there are, but there's some weeks where it not necessarily.
Right. And then there's some weeks there's too many.
Too many. Yep.
Yeah, it needs to be. We talked about this. The semifinals need to be January 1st or whatever, that championship game be the 8th, 9th, 10th, whatever that next Monday is. I get it. And then just work your way back. It's okay to, you don't want to have a whole slate of games when the NFL's playing. You don't. As you want to get away from the NFL as much as you can. They're gonna play on Saturdays in December. And so, if you're only playing 4 games or 3 games and 2 games or whatever it might be during that time, that's okay because the NFL is going to be on. And essentially you don't need to have 3 weeks off in December. You just keep playing.
Yeah, 3 weeks off is just too much, especially some of these bowl games are going away. We need a commissioner or a group of people for the rules of college football, the transfer portal, all that. Then we need another group of people for the schedule.
Right.
And then there's probably another group of people that we need for something that we're not thinking about. But there's some openings for college football, especially early in the season here in August, early September. This is the time to take advantage. And I'd have to think that they're looking at that for future years.
And it's just different because these guys are getting paid. They don't, and 98% of these guys – it's probably 100%. They are on campus training all summer. So it's not like they're going home for the summer. They're working out. They're doing it. Everybody's got an indoor. So they don't have to go outside in the, if it's 100% humidity and 105 degrees, they all have an indoor that's climate controlled, not the sun beating on them.
116 here in Scottsdale today, by the way.
Yeah. So, but Arizona State's not practicing outside in that. Or you go at 10 o'clock at night or whatever. These guys are professionals. They are getting paid. So you tell them when to work. I mean, that's just reality now. Mm-hmm. It's not like you and I mean, really what needs to happen is it needs to be a collective bargaining that, these are the times, these are the things, just like the NFL does. But this is a full-time job. You're getting paid, anybody a starter in a Power 4 conference is making – I'd be shocked if any starter of the ACC, Big 10, SEC, or the Big 12 is making less than $500,000. I'd be shocked if you're a starter not making that.
They're making a lot of money.
And a lot of them are making a lot more than that. But
it's crazy to think about. You see they posted on ESPN and some other sites what Carson Beck and some Drew Aller were making, or what they're making now compared to what the current college quarterbacks are making. And if you're one of the top quarterbacks or one of the top players in the country, you are making a boatload of money. And even if you're just a starter, even if potentially a backup, like you mentioned, there's a lot of money to be made. So I think each year it'll start to figure itself out because it has to. Smart people are going to get involved. You would think, you would hope. Maybe I shouldn't have said that because I could be wrong on that. But you would hope that smart people are going to get involved in this, figure out the schedule, figure out what the playoffs should be, figure out what the rules should be. And I think we're inching closer to that. There's going to be some bumps that have to come, like which we're seeing today with NFL players trying to come back and play in college and some of these other things. But there's an opening for college football. You just got to take advantage of the non-NFL games.
Yeah, anytime the NFL is off or taking a step back, you have to take advantage. Well, just like when the NFL starts, the first game's on Wednesday, which is weird. Now I get it. They can do that because it's the first game and you can't play on Sunday or even Saturday or Thursday and play the next Wednesday. But playing Wednesday because then they also have a game on Thursday, that Australia game with San Francisco. So the Seahawks play on Wednesday, Then the 49ers play on Thursday, and then the regular games will be on Sunday. Correct?
Yep, that's correct. New England at Seattle will be on Wednesday.
Yep.
And then Thursday, San Francisco versus the Rams in Australia. So I see. I'm just looking. I see the Rams are 3.5-point favorites. I would take the Niners in that one. The Niners are good. That's the healthiest the Niners are going to be away from the.
Yeah, they're going to be far away from the electrical center or whatever it is.
Yeah, and Shanahan he can play with he can coach with McVay. So I would take. I don't know who I'd pick to win, but I would take San Francisco plus 3.5 on that one.
Yeah. Is he healthy? Is he back with the team after his car wreck?
Yeah, he's back. He had some concussion stuff going on. That's a good question. I believe that whole story kind of got swept under the rug.
Yes, it did.
And I haven't heard much of it. I think he's just back to normal coaching and everything is like it's supposed to be. Now their owner, on the other hand, has got some other stuff going on. There's always one or two crazy stories in the offseason every year. It doesn't matter.
And that one the guy's a billionaire and worried about $150. I think you could be a little bit more secretive and it might cost you a little more, but that'd be okay.
Would you remember the movie Office Space?
Yep.
In the beginning, they asked, what would you do with $1 million or $1 billion? And then somebody put his face on, go to a trailer park. It's like, good Lord, man. But yeah, every offseason in the NFL, there's one or two big stories like this. I mean, Robert Kraft years ago got caught doing whatever he was doing. It never fails. The NFL stays in the headlines. I mean, there's always going to be one or two. I mean, San Francisco's obviously, the Niners really have three stories going on: the owner, the coach, and then the substation.
Right. Yeah, the substation is its own thing. I think it has its own Twitter account and everything.
It does. So the Niners they're all in the news, but people with money like that, it doesn't matter. They always seem to step in it somehow.
Yeah.
You think they wouldn't, but they always do.
Yeah. Any new injuries that's going to impact for weeks? I haven't heard one yet for a while. I mean, there's bumps and bruises. Jamar Chase, maybe. We don't know for sure yet.
I think that's going to be okay. Ashton Genty got hurt.
Yep.
But that's it sounds like that's getting better all the time. I can tell you here in a second if anything's happened since we've been on the podcast. It's not loading.
Yeah, but Giants had a guy tear his ACL, but I didn't recognize that name.
He was a depth receiver. The Ravens lost their center. That was expected, though. There's some other ones. I mean, the Chargers lost their center for the year. Now they're going to move their rookie from Florida that they drafted from guard to center. He played center in college, so that's going to be another move there. But basically, every team's got an injury, so it's just part of it. It's unfortunate. It's the worst part of the sport is when these injuries happen, because you wish every team could be at their full capacity and then may the best man win, but that's not how it works.
Right. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is the Little League World Series. Iowa played today, and they got beat 14-6. It's just baseball is a weird thing. We talked about it before we recorded, but it doesn't matter if you're in the World Series and Tampa pulls Blake Snell and they lose a game that they shouldn't have, that maybe they could have won the World Series. But Iowa took out their star pitcher so he could pitch in the U.S. Championship game on Saturday. And he'd get up 0 runs again. And the next guy they bring in, Anthony Johnson Jr., the other pitcher who was a complete stud the second game, could not pitch today because he pitched too much before. And I think the third guy they brought in today just got rocked. I mean, there's no other way for it. They've got two really good pitchers. The third one either had a really good day, whatever it might have been. So now they play tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock an elimination game to get there. I don't know the rules well enough off the top of my head. I hope Anthony Johnson can pitch tomorrow. to get to the U.S. Championship, and then you have the Cooper Thiessen to throw in the U.S. Championship, and then if you get to the World Championship, is what it is. You're there, and you do the best you can with whoever's left. But you have to get there. Looking back, I understand you want your guy for the U.S. Championship to get to the whole thing, but you still have to get there. But yet you want to give that kid the chance to be on national TV on a Saturday to win a U.S. Championship with your number one guy. And that is a little bit of a problem with baseball, is you have to have pitching limits and there has to be days off, but yet you can't be in Williamsport for 3 weeks to play this tournament. No matter what, you win the U.S. Championship Saturday, the World Championship is Sunday. So whoever makes it is in the same boat you are. They have to play an extra now, so it's just all hands on deck, and hopefully you score runs. I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to. They tried to make a little bit of a run, but then gave up more. They lost 14-6 today. And going into today, they hadn't given up a run. So hopefully they let them all go today, and they'll come back tomorrow and not give up only a couple. But great. I mean, it just goes to show you how dominant pitchers can be. One guy can lead a team. Two guys can get a team a long, long ways. Once you get to that third guy, it's hard, and that's where the best teams win, not necessarily the best players.
So there's a lot here. I watched the last inning today because our show that I'm at got over, and I saw that the final inning was on, and yeah, they scored there. They got to 6 runs there. They were starting to make a little bit of noise, and then it ended. So I don't know much about the Little League World Series, other than, first of all, it's awesome. These are memories that these kids are going to have forever. Like it's an amazing tournament actually that we do this. Now, did you say that? Did Iowa hold back their ace because of rules or because of rest?
Well, both. So he pitched today. He started the game and went through how many ever pitches he could pitch. They pulled him so he could pitch on Saturday. If he would have went the full allotment of 85 pitches today, he could not have pitched Saturday because you have to have, I think, 4 days of rest. So today is Wednesday, so he could not have pitched Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So he would have been done pitching for the rest of the tournament. And with no guarantee of even getting through this game. Because when the first game that he pitched, they did have to bring in another kid for an out or two because just the way it worked out. So you weren't guaranteed him to even finish the game because of the pitch counts rules. So it was a little bit of strategy, and it was a little bit because of the rules. So how many ever pitches he pitched, which I'd have to look back. I was watching it, but I wasn't listening and couldn't see. It was on my phone and stuff. So it wasn't like I was watching the TV, listening full go. But I would guess it was probably about 50 pitches or so, maybe 60, so he could pitch in 3 days instead of 4 days. And once they pulled him, it went bad.
Do they have these pitch counts? Do they have it for safety, or do they have it in case you have just a total stud? You can't use them day after day after day, and when
it's to save his arm. I mean, it's proven that if he pitched 85 pitches every day, it's not good.
And how old?
12. The health of the kid per se.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna blindly disagree with the science behind that, and just say if you're 12 years old, you can pitch every day. But that's the old school in me coming out. I know I'm probably wrong on that, but I totally disagree. Let the kids play every day.
Yeah, the same thing happens in the baseball that Tyler plays in the USSSA, in high school baseball. It's different on how old you are. If you're a freshman or sophomore, is a different pitch count, and you have to have different rest than if you're a junior or senior. So it's truly an age thing. And then some leagues are number of pitches. Then like where Tyler plays, it's number of innings, which makes zero sense to me because all the innings are not the same. Last night the Twins pitcher had an inning that was 3 pitches. Mm-hmm. So that's an inning in Tyler's games, but another guy might have 40 pitches in one inning. Well, that makes zero sense. So I do think the USSSA needs to get away from the innings and the number of pitches. It needs to go to that. But yeah, it's way different than when we played when we were younger, Trev, where no one worried about any of that. But I will say this, the one thing that I do see, and I see it in those 12-year-olds, is kids are throwing breaking balls and stuff really early now compared to what they used to. Now, I get it. It works. It's hard to hit, but it does put a lot of stress on your elbow. And you look, I heard this stat, and I cannot remember it exactly, but I believe the pitchers that are in major leagues, I believe over 50% of them have had Tommy John. And some of them actually want it because they throw harder when they come back.
So if you were the coach, the manager, and 12, 14, 15 years old, whatever the age is, baseball, softball, and you've got a stud ace, you've got for sure they're going to go play college, maybe play in the pros, whatever. Would you just would you put them out there every day? Because I would.
Well, you can't. You literally.
I know. But I mean, that's kind of my old school philosophy. Like, if you've got a stud like that, I'd want to use them I'd want them on the mound as much as possible. But I know there's limitations, pitches.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's why. Now the difference is, even Nolan Ryan, who pitched for 20 some years in the majors, he still only pitched once every 4 days, 5 days. It's the same thing. You got to have those days of rest. You cannot pitch every single day. Now, the difference is when he went and pitched, he pitched 9 innings, and now they're only pitching 5 innings. So the number of pitches that Nolan Ryan threw compared to what they're throwing now isn't comparable. But he still had the same days of rest. And I do think the days of rest matter a lot, not compared to the pitch count. And the other thing is, now Nolan Ryan threw really, really hard for his day, but he's not throwing 104 mile an hour like Chapman, Mizorowski. Most starting pitchers can touch 100 mile an hour now, and most closers touch 100 now. And that was very, very unlikely even 20 years ago. I mean, you had some guys, but not like it is now.
Yeah, just like anything with sports, faster, stronger, taller, all these different things in all the sports. I mean, it's
and I'm going to use I'm coaching high school golf right now. You go look at a high school tournament with really good teams and really good players there. To win the tournament, you're going to have to shoot 66, 67. So depending on the course, that could be 4, 5, 6 under. And to finish in the top 10, you're going to have to break par. I mean, that's just the reality. If you shoot 80, Dowling, I can't remember what tournament it was. I think it was in Johnston, so at Jester Park. For those around here know that course. It's not easy. It's not hard. It's just it's just a good golf course. It's nothing special, but it's not a goat track either. It's nice, but it's not the hardest course in Des Moines or anything. And I think their number 6 guy shot 79 and got 38th.
Jeez.
And you always kind of thought, if you shoot under 80, you're doing okay. Well, it's not anymore. You got to shoot 75 or less.
Good. I saw something about that today.
Yeah, I have not seen it.
I didn't even know that was a controversy until about 4 hours ago. It was blowing up on my Instagram where these stores are removing all the clothing, and I never even saw the commercial, so I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, I heard about it. I've not seen the commercial, but I guess a girl is reaching for her driver or the guy's driver, and he pushes her down or something. I mean, I heard it's not good. I've not seen it. Same thing. But Callaway and Good are not in good standing with a lot of places right now.
There's a lot of shakeups going on in golf. Live is ending, of course. Roll-Up came out with a new schedule. Now, the schedule this coming year is pretty much – they kind of already knew it because everything's kind of been in works already. But I've told you before, I think Roll-Up's going to make some changes. They already talked about, too, with match play coming toward the end of the season, which I think that's interesting. I don't mind that so much. But, golf has a lot of news going on right now.
Yeah, and match play is awesome. I like playing at match play, but it is really hard to change the format that they play all year for the championship. That's just the hard. You play stroke play all year in every event, and now go win the championship. You got to go match play. That's weird.
It is. It's different. Yeah. No, I get it. That's what Roll-Ups. He's gonna have some different ideas. So we'll see how the PGA Tour players adjust and the live players, the ones that are allowed to come back if they're allowed to, and however that.
If you had to make a guess, John Rahm, Bryson, Cam, Smith, what would another one be? Those top 3 or 4 guys. How much money are they going to have to pay to go to the back to the PGA Tour? $50 million in total compensation.
Yeah, something. They'll have to do some fake public apology, which won't mean nothing.
Because like Brooks had to pay like $5 million and then couldn't get any into all the events and isn't eligible for certain money.
And the money goes to charity, right?
Yes.
Which means it goes to the government, which means no charity will ever see it. But anyway, yeah, the money going to our government, which won't see any of the charities it's supposed to go to, and the fake public apologies, we'll those will really be good. We'll really stand behind those. But that'll make everyone feel good about it.
Yeah. I just think that number is going to be like $50 million. And I think they'll do it. Bryson's the one that might not, just because he can go do his own thing on YouTube and still play in the majors because he won one not that long ago. And he just needs to win another one of these very, very soon so we can continue playing those. But I hope they do. I hope they come back, makes golf more fun on a weekly basis instead of just the majors.
Golf needs them all together. The PGA Tour overstepped their boundaries, in my opinion, years ago. They went to Live. Live didn't have any. We've talked about this before. We might be getting a little sidetracked now, but Live's biggest problem was none of their tournaments had any history behind them.
Yep.
They weren't playing at Augusta or Pebble Beach or St. Andrews. These are courses that we know. There's iconic moments at them. To me, it wasn't the 3-day tournament that people complained about or the music or any of this other stuff. To me, it was the courses that they played didn't have the history of the courses on the PGA Tour.
Right.
I think that was their downfall.
You didn't win the Memorial and have Jack shake Jack Nicklaus's hand after you won. You didn't go win Tiger Woods events and have Tiger Woods come shake your hand after you won that event. You didn't win Bay Hill, and I know Arnold Palmer is passed, but you didn't win Arnold Palmer's tournament like that. And that's exactly what you're saying. You didn't win Torrey Pines that had U.S. Opens, and you didn't play Pebble Beach. You didn't. I mean, you are 100% right. The history, or the course. Like Augusta, we can all play Augusta in our head, just like the players can, because we've seen it every year. We know every hole. We know it's going to go left. This putt goes right. This putt you can't go here on 12. You can't leave it shorter. It's going to go in the water. On 15, can you get there in 2 and get it over the creek? It's just, we know on 18, can you make the 20-footer for birdie to win it? I mean, it's like Phil, it's, what is going to happen. And you knew the same thing at Firestone, at Torrey, at Muirfield Village, at Bay Hill. You just go up and down the list.
Yeah, there was so much history at all the different courses, but golf is. I hope all the players or most of them come back to the PGA Tour, do whatever they got to do, the whole song and dance, make people feel good, and let's get all those guys back on TV weekly, competing against each other. And I think the PGA Tour will be stronger for it long term. I think it was good. I think it was good shakeup for the PGA Tour for the next 20, 30, 50 years from now.
Yeah, they're definitely made some changes. Higher purses for the big events, things like that. So Liv did its job, I think, and we'll see if it continues and everybody can come back and play in one spot. And then last but definitely not least, I know we're just over an hour here. I don't want to go too much longer, is Caitlin Clark, WNBA. Enes Kanter cannot go to a Chicago Sky game anymore. They just can't get out of their own way. But the Fever are playing really well. Career high 8 3-pointers. They win. They're playing well. Here's a problem with the WNBA. I believe their playoffs are set already. or at least 7 of the 8 teams are set. So and really not much movement's going to happen because they just don't have enough games to be able to catch or fall that much. And do you know when the season ends, Trev?
I don't know exactly, but 25, 30, 39. So I think the Fever got 5 or 6 games left. Teams have between 5 and 8 games for the remainder of the season. So now it's all seeding. The Fever moved down to the number 5 seed, which isn't good. They're a half a game behind Atlanta. Okay. So again, Angel Reese in Atlanta. They actually just signed DeWanna Bonner. Okay. Phoenix released Bonner so she could go to a championship team or try to go win a championship. And I was joking with someone a few days ago. I said Atlanta's going to sign Bonner. Well, of course they did. Yep. So the Fever got some. They need to. They can't be They can't be resting right now because they've got to try to fight for that 4 seed. New York, Washington, and Dallas are right on their heels. So yeah, there could be a lot of movement as far as the seeding goes. Minnesota at 31-8, they've kind of they're the split
themselves. Yeah,
and Golden State, they're a game and a half above Las Vegas for the number 2 seed. But yeah, that was a record game that Indiana had versus Chicago as far as ratings, broke all the ratings, and Angel Reese wasn't involved, of course, in that one. But Carrington tweeted out 8:23, and then she got her ass waxed by Caitlin Clark like she always does. J.C. Sheldon got her ass waxed like Caitlin Clark like she always does. I think J.C. Sheldon is 0-17 against Caitlin Clark in her college and professional life now.
Was she at Ohio State?
Yep.
Okay.
So I believe it's 0-17 now for J.C. Sheldon.
That's kind of funny.
That is. But no, Clark played really good. 8 threes, like you mentioned. There's that iconic where she's down at the basket and she's getting guarded by 3 people and she goes behind the back to Timpson. Timpson, as I talked about last week, as a young player, second-year player that's really up and coming. So if their defense can get a little bit better, they've got the shooting to win the title. It's just going to come down to defense and turnovers. And we'll see if Caitlin – I mean, Caitlin's played a lot of big games, we know. Back to college career, multiple Final Fours, multiple championship games. This will be year 3. So the Fever have a chance. They're not the favorite, nor should they be. But they're in those top – to me, there's probably 5 teams that can win the title this year, and they're one of the 5.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's all you want. Once the Fever and Caitlin Clark are out, there's a lot of people in this part of the country that will be out of the NBA. And there's already a lot out, period. But if they lose or as soon as they lose in the playoffs, the middle America is going to drop off immensely for the WNBA.
Oh, for sure. Especially with football starting up. It's going to be a double whammy there. You'll see the ratings really drop. I don't know if you've seen some of the other things going on online where you can go on the WNBA site and put in certain words or names on the back of jerseys, and certain names or words that you can't. So the WNBA, man, they just I guess bad news is better than no news, right?
I guess. So. All right. Anything else, Trev, to wrap up this week?
No, I think that's pretty good. We got through our college football bracket. Next week we'll cover some college football games that took place.
Yep. And
then we'll kind of ramp up for NFL. And I'll probably have some bets I'm looking at for both sports, and we'll see what comes of that.
Okay. Your pick to just win the game, so don't worry about the spread, North Carolina or TCU?
TCU.
In Ireland. Now, I'm not asking in very, very close or TCU kind of running away.
I would take North Carolina plus 7.5 because I think Bill Belichick will have some experience going overseas. I think that'll play into their favor. So I would take TCU to win the game, but I would take North Carolina plus 7.5. I believe is last I saw.
Okay. I'm not going to argue that. I would kind of agree to that. TCU is kind of if you're inclined to look at over-unders, you might look at TCU and the over. I've heard good things out of TCU.
All right. That could be kind of like my Michigan State and UCLA. I'm looking at the overs on both of those. I'm looking at overs on Virginia, not Virginia Tech.
So you flipped the switch with Michigan State with the new hire, haven't you? You're in on them now. You're not.
Well, I still hate him. I still hate him, but I have to respect him now.
You're not going to pick him to lose every game by 100 now.
No, nope. I could see him going, 5-7.
Okay. No,
I'll give him that at least. I'll give him that much respect.
All right. Thanks, Trev. We'll talk next week.
All right. Have a good night.